Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for Ramarley.
And kill the cops off the streets.
Justice for
4 years ago today, NYPD officers followed Ramarley Graham home. He was doing nothing more than walking home with his friends. They forced their way into his house, and then they shot and killed him in front of his grandmother and 6-year-old brother.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Not only have none of these officers been held accountable, not only have they not been indicted, are they free walking the streets, but they are still working for the NYPD. On top of this, the officer who fired the gun that killed Ramarley Graham, Richard Hayes, has received almost $25,000 in raises since he killed Ramarley Graham. This is beyond injustice. We're here today because action has not been taken. We're here today to call on the city administration, the mayor and the commissioner to take action to discipline these officers and to fire all officers responsible for Ramarley Graham's death.
Yes!
Today make 4 years since they murdered my son. And we are here demanding that Mayor de Blasio and Bratton fire these officers that commit this crime. They need to fire these officers because they can't allow them to work in this city, commit this type of crime, and still expect to serve the public when you murder an unarmed child. Mayor de Blasio, we are calling upon you today, and as a father of a black boy also, this should touch you, because this could be Devontae, just as how it happened to my son. We are here today to demand that you fire these officers and take these men off the street. They don't deserve to work in our public. You want us to bridge the gap with officer, you could start by doing this. Start by fighting these officers. Get them off the street. They don't belong in our community. We want justice for Ramarley and justice for all. Today's the 4 years since they murdered my son, and still I stand here with no answers to why he was murdered. So we are calling today for you to fire these officers, Richard Hayes, Scott Morris, and the rest of them that commit this crime. Thank you.
Rise up for Ramarley.
Rise up for Ramarley. Rise up for Ramarley. Rise up for Ramarley. Rise up for Ramarley. Rise up for Ramarley.
I want to ask Frank Graham, Ramarley's father, to come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to say thanks to everyone for your support, your continued support. Thanks all. As you know, today marked 4 years. 4 years since they murdered my son. 4 years without justice. People has gone out about their life. Some became higher judge. Some gotten promotion. A lot making more money. All been paid with taxpayers' dollars. My son was 18 years old. Wasn't doing anything wrong. Several stories came out of what they thought he was doing. All that was fabricated. Walked home calmly and was pursued. Not chased, because when you chase someone, that means they're actually trying to get away from you. They went in his house, and after several attempts, broke their way in, went upstairs, kicked in the door, shot my son in his heart in front of his grandmother and 6-year-old brother. I begged Robert Johnson to fight this case vigorously. But the very first day I met Bob Johnson, I knew he wasn't going to do it. because of things that he said to me. And I said it to Constant that we're not going to have anything out of this case from Bob Johnson. So here we are 4 years today to the date, and City Hall, the steps. And I'm demanding that the mayor of this great city take action. What action do I want? I want the officers involved to be fired.
Yes.
I want every last one of them taken off the street. Not just placed in an office so they could break up overtime and make a lot of money, and then when they think we quiet and we asleep, they're back on the street to kill again. That's not what we want. We want them fired. And we made that demand in a letter that we sent to the mayor. I spoke to the mayor before he became the mayor. And in his word, very tragic, sad thing, shouldn't have happened. Well, now you have a chance in doing something about it. Be a man of your word. Pat Lynch doesn't run this city. You run this city. Ain't no need to calm down or bow down to the PBA, because they're a part of the big problem in this city. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's who these officers respect. That's who they report to. That's who they think they should answer to. But you're the mayor. You was voted in by the people of this city. And I'm asking you, I'm demanding that you fire these officers. Between you and the commissioner, you have the right and you have the chance of doing something right. Give us justice, and you could start by firing these officers. We are here now. Later, we'll be in the Bronx at the House and then back at the DOJ. We won't stop. We also is demanding that the DOJ bring forth this case to a grand jury and charge all officers involved, Richard Hayes, Scott Morris, and the others. We need justice, and we need it to start now. No more prolonging this case. Enough is enough. Thank you.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice,
No peace.
no justice.
No peace. I want to next ask Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, to come up and speak. Before she says a few words, though, I also want to acknowledge the other families who have lost loved ones to the police who have come out to support the Graham family today. Natasha Duncan is here. She's the sister of Chantel Davis. Joshua Lopez is also here. He's the nephew of John Collado. And also Leona Virgo, who is Ramarley's sister, is also here today with us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
4 years. Enough is enough. 4 years ago, that poor innocent child got murdered by the NYPD. And as his parents say, what did the police get? Rewarded for murdering someone? We need them off the force. They are bad apples. We don't need that on the force.
That's right.
We have to get rid of them. We are asking the mayor, the commissioner to fire them. We're asking the DOJ to hurry and take this case. We're all standing in limbo. They're standing in limbo. I'm standing in limbo. The rest, some other families are standing in limbo. Enough is enough. We want justice. We just don't want them to stand by and say, oh, we are looking at it, we're turning every rock over. What is there to look at? They killed an innocent child. Was doing nothing, going home to his home, and they broke into his house. Not with a search warrant, just broke it in. So they was on a thrill kill. And I just want to say, we need justice for all our young blacks. Black lives matter.
That's right.
We know all lives matter, but we want them to recognize that we are people too. So give us justice for Ramarley. Justice for Ramarley, and get rid of all the ratchet police officers.
All right. What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now!
It's an outrage that our elected officials in this city have not taken action on this case. By not taking action for 4 years, they are showing they are complicit with this kind of action on the part of the NYPD. I next want to ask Councilmember Andy King, co-chair of the BLAC, to come up and say a few words.
It is appalling. 4 years. 4 years. 4 years. Really, Mr. Mayor? 4 years?
Yeah, right.
We're still having this conversation?
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
No.
We know from the facts. We've heard it time and time. You reported it time and time again. We know that this young man, regardless of the rumors, was shot down in his home for no reason. Shot down in his home for no reason. In the month of February, which has been declared Black History Month, it reflects back to the times of Emmett Till and all the injustices that happened to black young men in this country. So let's call it for what it is. Richard Hasty gets a raise, what is 20 grand now to take out a young black man today? Is that the price that we charge on the heads of our young black brothers?
Speak.
I'm saying to the mayor, I'm saying to the commissioner, we can no longer wait for DOJ.
No.
You have the power to make a decision. And if the DOJ can't come to a resolution in a timely manner, you give them a time frame and you make a decision.
Right.
You heard today, we need hope. And if we can't get any hope, you don't get any vote. No hope, no vote. No hope, no vote. No hope, no vote.
In too many places in this city, young men of color are being killed by the police.
That's right.
And now we have to wait and wait and wait and wait.
That ain't right.
That ain't justice. That ain't right.
It is unclear why a family in a city has to wait 4 years. Excuse me. We've been waiting 4 years just to know what's going to happen with the investigation. Lord knows when we're going to get justice.
That's right. That's right.
So, the commissioner and the mayor can take disciplinary action. And it begs the question, why haven't you done so? The Department of Justice has taken on other cases that happened with police murders after Ramarley Graham. So what are they waiting for? We will not sit idly by and wait for justice.
No.
We will demand justice, and this family deserves justice.
Yes.
Estamos aquí presentes hoy porque demasiadas muchas familias y jóvenes de color han sido asesinados por las manos de la policía. Y aquí en este caso del joven Ramarley Graham, estamos esperando, 4 años estamos esperando y todavía no hay justicia. El alcalde y el comisionado puede tomar acción y debe de serlo. Aquí estamos para apoyar a la familia, para apoyar todo que ha sufrido a las manos de la policía. Gracias.
I want to ask Councilmember Jumaane Williams to come up and say a few words.
Thank y'all. God bless. And to all the families, God bless. I think most things have been said. I think at this point, talk is cheap. It's all right to say the type of city that you want to see and all the good things that are happening and needs to happen. But right now, we have an ability to show the change that we hoped we would see in this city when it comes to policing.
That's right.
We have an opportunity to show young black and brown men and women that their lives matter in this city.
That's right.
We have the ability to show this country that is going through this crisis that New York City will lead the way when it comes to justice.
That's right.
We have waited not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4 years just to hear something. That is abominable. We can't have this as the answer, everyone pointing to each other.
No.
The DOJ, if they're not going to move, it is up to the mayor and the commissioner to provide discipline for this officer. If officers are not given discipline for killing unarmed men, and women after kicking down their doors and going into their homes in front of their grandmothers, the behavior will always continue.
Right.
So if the DOJ is not acting, I need to hear from the mayor and the commissioner what their plans are, what you are going to do.
Right.
Either they violate departmental procedure or they didn't. It's time to step out and speak up.
That's right.
This family deserves to hear something. After 4 years, after 4 Christmases, after 4 birthdays, after 4 Mother's Days, after 4 Father's Days. Mr. Haste's family has him, and they have additional money.
Right.
We are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That's right.
You don't want folks back out in the street, but they should be there today. My hope is they'll be there tomorrow, and if we hear no answer, I will be with them. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I am Council Member Vanessa Gibson of District 16 in the Bronx, and I chair the Committee on Public Safety.
right.
And certainly I am proud to be here standing with my brothers and sisters and Ramarley's family, Brother Frank and Sister Connie, in solidarity, but it is heartbreaking to stand here because we have stood at press conferences for far too long.
right.
It is unacceptable that 4 years we are still waiting for justice to be served for the family of Brother Ramarley Graham. It is unacceptable that his life was taken so senselessly from us.
right.
It is unacceptable that we know the Department of Justice can move on this case. We know that our mayor and our police commissioner can also move
right.
on this
That's right.
case, and that has not happened.
Speak
It
on
is
it.
always our expectation that all men and women and all New Yorkers should be safe. If you are not safe in your own home, then where are you safe across our city? And so I ask all of you, my brothers and sisters, to keep fighting, to keep standing tall for justice, because we will not rest until Officer Haste and all the officers involved, let's be clear,
That's right, that's
let's
right.
be clear, there were more than one officer involved in this case. And so we must remember that all of these officers need to be brought to justice. It is unacceptable that not only is Officer Haste on modified duty, but still collecting a paycheck. That is a slap in the face to Brother Frank and Sister Connie.
right.
We must continue to walk with this family, keep them in our prayers, because it is heartbreaking for a family that has lost their loved one. They will never be the same again. But yet and still, they stand at every press conference in front of DOJ. They stand with strength and with courage because they see that the light is at the end of the tunnel. And so through the heartache, through the darkness, we will be victorious because we have a greater power on our side. We have God on our side. And He knows that those long struggles, justice is always at the end of that path. And so I applaud Connie and Frank for standing firm, not just for their son, but for every other young man who has been killed by our police officers and women. Let's be clear, this is men and women, our young girls and young boys. And so I thank you all. I will continue to stand with you, whether we're in front of the 4-7 in the Bronx, we're at police headquarters, we're at City Hall. We must continue to stand firm because justice is the right way to go, and we will not rest until we get justice. In the spirit of our brother Ramarley Graham, we're going to continue to rise up for him because his life mattered. And as long as we have breath in our bodies, we're going to stand for Ramarley and the justice that his family deserves. God bless you all.
All right.
A small delegation from the group was led by Ramarley Graham's parents inside City Hall to deliver a letter that the two had written to Mayor de Blasio. In a hallway decked with portraits of white supremacy, they delivered the letter to a city official.
We just went inside to drop off the letter that we sent earlier to de Blasio, demanding that he fire the officer that was involved in murdering my son Ramarley Graham. They say that he's not there, but we also left another copy so he could see in case he decide that he didn't get the first one. And he need to answer to us as soon as possible, because 4 years is too long waiting for justice or getting answer to why my son is not here. So right now, we have to wait now for him to give us an answer what he's going to do. And later on, we're going to be at the DOJ, and I'll be sleeping there tonight till tomorrow morning I get up and go to work. So when Pre-Bahara leave in the evening, he will see me, and when he come back in the morning, he will see me, because I'm not going to stop. We need answers to why this offer is still working and why the DOJ is not proceeding on this case. It's a clear-cut case. My son's civil rights were violated, my youngest son's right was violated, and my mom's rights were violated, and so did mine when I went to the precinct to find out what happened to my son. So if this is not a clear violation of every protocol this officer did, I don't know why they have him on the force. Because first of all, he didn't only endanger my family, he endangered other police officers that was with him by breaking in that house. Because before you said you didn't even, first of all, you didn't even know what the layout of the house was when you broke in there, and you claimed you thought he had a gun. What common sense would tell you to call and wait for backup? Why would you break into a house that somebody's supposed to have a gun? You didn't know the layout of the house. It's 3 floors. Where you was gonna go? You didn't know. So we want answers. De Blasio, you need to fire these officers. Pre-Bahara, let's get moving. You have the case for 2 years. 2 years. It don't take 2 years to go investigate a case. It took only probably 4 days to indict somebody, regular like me and anybody else.
Right.
So come on, stop dragging your feet and let's move. Prosecute these officers and let this city be safe again. You want to bridge the gap, this is the time to do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to say this before I end. We've been talking about Richard Hayes, but I want the city to know it wasn't just Richard Hayes. Scott Morris was the sergeant involved. And just like the sergeant involved with Eric Garner, we see what they did to her. And I'm not defending her in any way.
No.
I am not defending her.
No.
Because she's a black woman. No. She sat and watched this lady, black son, being killed. So I'm not excusing her. What I'm saying, when you put supervisor to be in charge and you train them and pay them, then they should take charge. And they didn't. There was other officer. I understand there was 2 American officers on that team that murdered my son. Don't think we're not coming after you two. We want you off the force as well.
We want all of you.